Hello, we're so glad you've joined us for Journey to Success, our series of conversations featuring California State University at Long Beach President Scholars. I'm Valerie Bordeaux, Director of the President Scholars Program, and sitting right next to me is Jennie Hurley, Associate Director of the program. You know, President Scholars are California high school valedictorians and national scholars who compete against the state's best and brightest, hundreds across the state of California, for a full scholarship. And we are so excited that we have two President Scholars with us today, Michael Tocco. Hi, Mike.
Hello.
And Cristina Chavez.
Hi, Valerie.
How are you doing?
Welcome. Good
Welcome
to be here.
to Journey to Success.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
You know, Cristina, when we were prepping for today's conversation, you talked a little bit about your family, and you talked about a lesson that your father taught you that was so inspirational and compelling that really started you on your journey to success.
Yeah,
Can you share that with us?
Yeah, well, I grew up in the Central Valley in Visalia, and that is majority agriculture. So my family and my dad actually worked in the fields, whether it was picking cotton or being an irrigator of the lands. And he, since we were young, he made us value education, and he actually made me and my three brothers go work in the field so we could see how hard it really is. And from then on, we just knew that, you know, we wanted more for our lives and for our parents' lives. So it was then that he, you know, showed us the importance of an education.
Did you realize that right away when you did that, or did it take a little while as you got older to really realize, oh, you know, that was a big lesson for me?
I think it probably happened a little bit like later.
Yeah.
He always told us, you know, go to school, do this. I never got to go to school. And you know, we did see him come home late, and you know, him getting all sunburned, breaking his back. And so I think watching him struggle and, like, you know, kind of putting it together, like, wow, you know, he's working so hard for us. I think it, like, later on in life, it came out to be, you know, I'm gonna do this not only for him but for myself, so I can also become, you know, someone.
Do you think it impacted your brothers or your sisters in the same way?
Definitely, definitely, yeah. With my parents' support, of course, all three of us, well, four of us, I have my three brothers and I are actually in college now. One of them already graduated from Berkeley. The other one is going to graduate this semester from Fresno State. And my youngest is in UC Santa Barbara, and I'm here, so it's
What a wonderful
incredible
gift your parents gave you.
Definitely.
What's it like to be the only girl with three brothers? Because I only have a sister, so
Right.
what's that like?
It's, you know, I think when I was younger I didn't like it because I always wanted to have that sister. And my brothers were great though. I think they taught me to kind of compete and like be up with the guys. You know, I can do anything that they do. So I really value that they taught me. But also since I was young, you know, with my cultural background, you know, we start young to learn how to be a housewife. But I did learn how to take care of them, and it was great because I value that, and I love to take care of them. But yeah, I definitely can't say it's not a bad thing having three brothers. To this day, I'm very thankful for it. And now they're learning also how to be husbands, you know, like learning how to cook and do and all that. So it's not
Which
just
is a
me.
good thing.
Yes,
It's a good thing.
Definitely.
Michael, you mentioned that you grew up also in a rural part of the state. And when we asked you about a word that would describe you, you said curious.
Curious.
What's that all about?
Being in a rural part, I imagine Cristina had a similar experience. It was very limited on what you could do as far as nightlife or hanging out with friends. Where would you go? What would you do? And it was always like trying to find something to do. You know, what is there to do past 8 o'clock when in the city everything shuts down?
Nothing was happening after 8 o'clock.
Nothing at all was happening. And a lot of that curiosity came from the fact that my parents had came all the way from New York City to be exact, a place that really is like the total opposite of my hometown of Lancaster. So it was quite a switch from being, you know, the Big Apple where nothing ever happens. You know, nothing dies. The night is, you know, young and everything.
Was it a difficult adjustment for you?
I was born in Lancaster, so I kind of always had that limited sense of what to do.
Okay.
But I would just say exploring and coming to Long Beach, I get to explore more and be more curious and do, all sorts of things at 9 o'clock at night that I didn't get to do back in Lancaster.
Now, did you end up ever going to New York? Because, you said your parents came from there.
Yeah.
And what was that like for you?
I visited twice. The first time I actually visited was in 2000, which is actually before the World Trade Center collapsed. And an incredible experience for me was we actually got to go in the World Trade Center because my mom actually had a boss and he worked there too.
Oh, wow.
So it was an incredible experience, kind of surreal. But just exploring, see where my mom worked and like all the stories they had. It was incredibly cool. And then I also visited like 2 years ago. I got to see more or less like where they grew up. I'm older, so I can kind of appreciate the lesser, boring things that you wouldn't have enjoyed as a child.
Yeah. Did you get to see like the real New York then when you went there? Like, did you get to see like
all
the
behind
accents
the scenes kind of stuff?
Yeah.
I grew up with a lot of the accents, and I hear it like
Pizza places.
on the daily. Just like the things that a visitor wouldn't do. Like no kind of vacationer would go to the parts of Queens that I went to, the parts of just like little shops and like stores and eateries that I visited that have a lot of connection with my family that I got to go to. It was incredible.
Now, you've said that you also liked to travel.
I
that
do.
You've been to Italy.
I have been to Italy.
Tell us about that.
I think I would tie it also into the curiosity thing, like I said. It's just really exciting to just see a bunch of different people, in the same sense, just as human as you are, but doing a completely different thing. Going about life in such a different way, such a different speed of life in Italy. They're not hustling and bustling all day long. They take some time out of the day, for themselves and to enjoy the little things. And that's different from culture to culture, from state to state, from country to country. And I think it's just incredibly exciting. To really explore and see all those differences amongst people, because I think when you stay in one area for too long, everybody kind of sounds the same, and the daily routine becomes so normal sounding to you, and it's really exciting to see a whole new culture and how that really interacts.
What was your favorite aspect of your trip to Italy? Most favorite?
Most favorite? The food is awesome.
The food.
The food is the best. I mean,
Of course.
I bet I can speak for everybody here when a good pasta is quite delicious. But just exploring some neighborhoods. A big part of my trip was me and my dad are big like foodies. We like to find the places that like like the TV shows and like the tour books that people don't always go to, but they're good.
Off the beaten path.
We actually traveled into like a lesser known neighborhood in Rome and found this quiet little restaurant, and it was great and had this great pasta. So. It was always really exciting.
So that sort of funny saying though, that curiosity killed the cat.
Yes.
So has it ever kind of come back where your curiosity has gotten you into a place or a space where you're like, oh, maybe it got me somewhere I didn't want to go?
It's taken me to some places that I probably shouldn't have been in, like in Lancaster, like tunnels that I shouldn't have been near and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But that's that's always a risk of exploring a little too much.
Yeah.
But
So you haven't been sorry that you've been curious. It's yielded good things.
So far, it's brought a pretty good treasure of excitement.
And Cristina, you said you love exploring California's gold. There's so much to do here in California. Where have you been in California that you really enjoyed?
Oh man, that's a hard question. I love everything about. Like growing up, I mostly stayed in the Central Valley because I didn't really get to travel as much since my parents worked a lot. But like the experience of being able to come here to go to college, and just exploring Long Beach and Southern California has been amazing. I get to take the train everywhere if I choose to, which I'm totally okay taking it, for 3 hours. And I'm excited to go even more, to San Diego and just everywhere. I haven't been to Lancaster though. I have to go explore that.
You should definitely visit.
I've never been to the desert, so.
And have you ever been to Visalia?
I have not.
Uh-huh.
We can trade places
be
for
tour
a little
guides for
bit.
each other.
We'll have to do that one day. Yeah, but probably one of the best places has been definitely Berkeley in like San Francisco. It's so different compared to many places that I've seen, especially where I grew up. And like when I first went there, I just thought it was the most beautiful place ever because even though there was like trash and on the streets, unfortunately, it just had its own beauty. And then I think it really like opened me up to like go to different places.
Wanting to do more and go more places and see more things.
I kind of want to ask you a question. When you look for a place to travel to, is it more like the excitement there, like the things to do, or is it like maybe like just a unique like aspect it has, like being really quiet or like being really like foresty.
That's
like
a good question.
So I probably look for like more of like a city, like a new experience as far as like what there's to do there. Or some people might go just because it's like relaxing or beautiful.
I think I choose it as a way to just learn, because I actually really want to go to Humboldt, and I've never been like past like Santa Rosa, but I know it's so different compared to like the rest of California because it's all trees. It's
That's my
mostly
neck of the woods. Siskiyou County, Eureka, all the way
yeah.
up there.
Yeah, so I definitely want to try to go and visit that area as well and see its beauty, like because every
California's really diverse.
So you're curious too. You have some curiosity there as well.
See, we share that word.
We do.
And you also described yourself as being optimistic. Why'd you choose that word?
I think growing up as well, like it has shaped me to be really like positive and optimistic about many things. I don't necessarily let like something bad happen, or if there's like an obstacle that suddenly appears to kind of like bring me down and like, you know, just stop and quit. I usually always know that there's a way around it, and so I'm just like, oh, it's gonna be okay. We're gonna figure it out. And I think that's like a big part of me that has helped me. Yeah. So
an overcomer.
yes.
Is that innate to you, or is that also something that comes from your family, partly?
Oh yeah, I definitely think it comes from my family.
Okay.
Because they're the same way.
Okay.
Whenever there's like a situation, for example, like we only had like 2 cars. It was, one of them was my dad's, and then the rest was like for the rest of the family. Whenever one of them broke down, you know, we had to figure out a situation where my dad could still go to work, but all of us had to get to where we had to. And it was just like they were always optimistic to work things out, and there's always a way, you know, to figure problem out. So I think it definitely came from my parents.
What about you? Would you describe yourself as optimistic? And
I would say I've become a lot more optimistic. I think that's just the whole like college like feeling. Like everybody's just so happy and excited to just enjoy life that optimism is kind of just a byproduct of it. I'd agree with you. I think it's definitely like, I think it's just healthier to be optimistic. I mean,
Well, what do you do when you face a challenge? I mean, do you pull something from inside you that says, I can overcome it, I'm not going to let it get me down? What do you do in those instances?
I usually am going to take a very brave approach and say that, you know, I've probably been in the situation before at some point, maybe not the exact same thing, but I've definitely experienced everything, you know, in my life to a certain extent before. So I kind of go off experience, go off with friends' experiences, get a lot of advice. You know, advice is always good, and then just, you know, make a smart decision. You know, don't make anything you're going to regret. You know, be optimistic about it, be happy about it.
Do either of you have mentors in your life who've made a difference for you, have helped you to along your journey?
I can definitely say many people have helped me so much in my life. You two, you know, first of all, are wonderful.
Well, we want to hear more about how we've helped you. So when we come back, you can talk more about that. We'd love to hear it.
Yeah.
We're going to be back in another minute or so. Stay with us.
You always made sure I brushed my teeth.
You told me that smart was cool.
You always told me to dream big.
To all of those parents who took the time to make raising their children their most important job, we'd like to say,
thank you.
Thank you.
From the bottom of my heart, thanks, Mom and Dad.
This message is brought to you by the U.S. Air Force.
Welcome back. We're having a great time chatting with Michael and Cristina, and we were just talking about mentors.
Yeah. Now, when we left off before the break, you mentioned some mentors in your life, and we'd love to hear a little bit more about that. Cristina?
Not just about us, though.
Not just about us.
Well, besides you wonderful ladies, there's definitely been like other awesome people in my life that have like pushed me. I can remember one from high school, actually. I was in an avid class. Her name was Mrs. Barnes. She was just an exceptional woman. She always made it like, you know, sure that we were always on top of things, especially me and my brothers. We all had her. So it was like something that she just wanted to push the whole family. She always envisioned me like doing like amazing things. She actually guessed that I was going to be homecoming queen when I was a freshman, and I ended up being when I was a senior. And then she also predicted that I would marry a prince. So we'll see if that happens.
Well, do you want to marry a prince?
I mean, If it happens, it happens.
You're not against it.
I'm not against
You
it.
could go with that.
Yeah. So we'll see.
How
fun.
about you, Michael, a mentor in your life?
I would say I had a lot of mentors throughout. I think every teacher that you have and every person you meet affects you in a little bit, but it has to be my parents. I mean, it has to be the people that raised me that seriously have the biggest effect on my life.
Yeah.
Basically, on every aspect, whether they taught me to be, smart or wise, or treat people with dignity and respect. Everything from who I am as a person to who I am as a student to who I am professionally. It all gets affected by my parents.
Can you think of one instance? I mean, we shared with Cristina, but can you think of an instance or a lesson learned from your parents where there was a aha moment? You went through an experience or something that you learned from them?
Like, wow, my parents actually know something. Did you have that moment?
I have those experiences a lot.
When you're kids,
Those
you're
wake-up
like,
moments, little light bulb goes on. I don't know if I can exactly touch on that, but I can definitely touch on a piece of advice that kind of came out of a little bit of working hard. My whole family was like very blue collar at the time. Very. I had plumbers and electricians and carpenters, and my dad, also knew how to work on cars. And working along that side, not only did it learn to like appreciate the hard work that you can do with your hands, but it also helped me, want to get an education and do that as well. Kind of an aha moment, I would say, is just the fact that just because somebody doesn't go to college, and just because somebody doesn't, have the ability to do things that you can do in college and become like an educated, maybe like a white collar job, it's really incredible to see, the heart and mind of people who just do blue collar stuff too. I mean, it's just incredible that. There's no such thing as a standard for like being an educated worker. Like, I just.
Sounds like both your parents instilled some really important values that you've embraced and work ethic that you live by today.
Yeah, definitely has really touched me hard about just making sure that you work hard, and whatever you do, take pride in it a lot, no matter how little it is.
Michael, do you think that the background that you had and your family has and working on stuff led to your decision a little bit to be an engineering major, which you are, civil engineering, right?
Civil engineering, working towards that.
Do you think that appealed to you, like, oh, I can go to college and have this, potentially make some good money in that direction, but also I get to work with my hands too? That's a really funny point you made, because I actually have always wanted a job where I can, still work with my hands and like go out in the field and like, leave the office a little bit, and leave the little cubicle and go see what I've actually created. But at the same time, have a decent enough job where I can also go inside and stay clean for like 2 hours.
You talked about Imagineering or working with Disney.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about how that fits into your plan.
That would definitely be categorized as a dream job, working with Disney. One of the other words I mentioned besides curiosity would be creativity, and I think there's no other engineering job out there quite like Disney, where you can blend the creativity with, the practicality of engineering, and it's the perfect blending. It really is, to be able to not only just make, rides and scenery in a park, but also to create something that no other job creates, and that's like the feeling of awe.
Wow.
To walk into a park and just say, wow, that was created by people, and I want to be one of those people who do it.
That's great.
And Cristina, you said that you're interested in social work, but also perhaps going to law school.
Right. Yeah. It's been like a really big journey as I've learned a lot about social work. And in one of my classes, we learn about policy and the law aspect to it, and it just that whole career itself has like made me also want to do that, and I guess kind of be more like the pro bono type of lawyer.
Yes.
So still be a social worker, but like provide those services to like those who unfortunately don't have a voice or feel like they don't have any rights. So I definitely want to kind of do that and provide that for them.
And now in social work, I know that you're dealing with a lot of populations and people who are really needing assistance, who might be going through some big challenges. Do you find that is, I know it's appealing to you to help with that, is it ever overwhelming to you too? And how do you kind of handle that? Not getting too upset by it, Right.
We definitely have learned and hear many unfortunate stories every day, and it can have a big impact. But something that the program really instills in you is the importance of self-care. And I've actually learned a lot about it too while I'm there, and you know, just putting myself first, giving myself some time off, watching Netflix, you know, just going out and exercise and not really having to worry about other things. So that also has like helped me grow as a person, and you know, I want to be more aware of myself and my needs first, so I can help others with their needs, because I guess that's the only way to do it. If you're
it's so important
good,
so you don't get burnout and you can really really help others. So
And Michael, we talked also about you having a servant's heart, just like what Cristina is talking about in terms of wanting to be a social justice advocate. But I know that you both are always the first to volunteer. Anything in terms of giving back or serving others. Where did that come from? Is that from your family as well? Have you always had that desire to serve others or to be
I would
volunteer?
say that coming to college was a huge experience. The fact that it brought so many doors along with it, you know, opened so many opportunities. To not, you know, at home you might only think, oh, volunteering, I can, you know, donate food, or I can work at a soup kitchen, or I can do, you know, pick up trash. But over here, there's volunteering is not so you know, specific. You know, you can work at soup kitchens downtown, which I've done. You can work with, you know, youth that I've done a lot, which is really exciting. Programs and people you meet. I met, you know, Christy, who works with Dramatic Results in Long Beach, and that's an incredible organization. Have you guys heard about that?
No, tell me.
She uses arts and crafts, I believe. I don't know the whole story, so I don't want to screw it up.
Okay.
But I know she uses arts and crafts to basically educate students on like mainly like confusing topics, I guess, like science and math. But she uses the same concepts with arts and crafts, kind of to simplify it, you know, make it a lot more understandable. She's incredible. I know she started the business with a couple $100 or a couple $1,000, and it's huge. It's nonprofit. It's millions of dollars, and she's an incredible woman. It's a lot of fun working there because it's not your conventional, you know, volunteering. It's not, you know, a soup kitchen, you know, some pleases and thank yous. It's getting to see exactly like just a really unique aspect of how she helps people.
How'd you hear about that one?
That would be through the ambassadors. It's another club I do, and it's like, yeah, it's really exciting to see all the different ways you can volunteer.
Wow.
Yeah, definitely a way to apply yourself.
So there's a lot, I mean, it sounds like you've realized the benefit of a lot of variety of different volunteering services. How about you, Cristina? Is there one that's been your favorite so far, something that's kind of stood out to you?
There's definitely been many to choose from, but I guess one of them in particular is the homeless drop-in center that we get to do. I think, like, you know, going there and appreciating, you know, the amount of food that you have there to feed people, or the homeless population is great. And then when you actually see them, you know, face to face and them thanking you, it's just a big impact. So it makes you also value like what you have. So
is it different than you thought it would be? Like, was there a perception you had before you went and served at the homeless drop-in center, and was there a difference once you did it?
I think I did, actually. For some reason, I kind of thought we would be more like in the back, kind of just serving food, not necessarily actually like having like face, you know, face interaction. I remember like for the Christmas time, when I went to go help, there was just so many volunteers because, you know, it was Christmas. So they had some of us to actually go and interact with a lot of them. And it was great. I sat down with some Vietnam veterans, and they were telling me, you know, just awesome stories, and it was definitely like life-changing because it was different.
Well, you talked about being life-changing, and you've talked about the joy that you get out of serving others. Again, I'm interested, what do you learn about yourself when you're serving others?
Definitely being grateful for all you have. I know another word besides, you know, being grateful and like, you know, really enjoying it. It's definitely addicting. I find myself like not just accepting like one type of, you know, volunteering, just like going to a soup kitchen every week. I find myself, you know, like exploring new opportunities. I've done this event with some foster youth. I believe you did it with me too. It was with some foster youth of South Central LA, encouraging them to go to college and just giving them, you know, all the optimism and support they need, and letting them know that they can definitely do anything they want to put their minds to. And it's the variety of finding new things to do. Being very grateful. I think gratefulness is probably the most abundant feeling I get from working.
And it sounds like you maybe were a little surprised that like, as you said, it was addictive, that you really liked it as much, or that you got as much out of it. And I think sometimes people are a little bit, you know, unsure, or if they haven't volunteered very much, are a little bit scared about it, you know, what I'm going to do, what kind of people I'm going to be interacting with. And it sounds like really every time we've done it, it's been very positive.
I don't know if Christina's like felt the same, but I feel like people who don't volunteer at all, you know, I have many friends in the housing area, and just they never quite did it for the first time. They never quite had that first like volunteering experience, and it's just like it kind of just takes that one time to do it,
to get
that you
addicted.
feel comfortable with it, and you understand that people are really grateful for all that you do. And I think it's like kind of funny that it just takes that one little time, and then people kind of understand like this is nothing what it was, you know, thought of before. Yeah.
What does success mean to you?
Well, something else that my parents also like kind of not necessarily said it, like quoted it, but it was more like success is more important than prestige or like being wealthy. And I think I always like, you know, I'm not necessarily going to worry about making hundreds of thousands of dollars. I want to like do something that I would be proud of, kind of like how he mentioned, you know, his parents being proud of what he did. My parents are proud of what they do. I'm proud of what they do. And I think success is being, you know, happy with where I am at my life, doing what I want to do and making sure I get there. So
Self-directed there.
Yeah.
How about you? What success mean for you?
I would say success is just finding that little niche in like in your career or whether it be your life that you're just happy and like you can wake up and you don't need another reason, you know, besides coffee to get up in the morning. You know, you can wake up.
The elixir of life, coffee.
Every day. I would definitely say it's just something that you just love to do, and you don't need another reason. You know, you'd probably do it even if you weren't even paid to do it. You love it that much that you put your heart and soul into it. It's more than just a place you clock in at 5 at night and you know. Just leave, you know. It's something that you kind of feel for, that you kind of don't mind going in on the weekends, or maybe you don't mind giving them some extra time and putting your, you know, all your heart and soul into it.
And part of that has to do with your attitude, which is definitely something you guys have both shared with us.
That reoccurring theme of optimism.
Optimism, curiosity, servant's heart, all of those good things. Well, darn, we've got to go. I wish we could sit and talk more, but it's time to go, and we hope that you enjoyed the conversation that we've been having with President Scholars Michael and Cristina, and we hope you'll come back and join us again for another of our series of Journey to Success.